Good morning, world. You're getting my fresh out of bed look this morning. But I haven't had a lot of time to video, so whether it's fresh out of bed or not, this is what you're getting. And I hope nobody's offended. This is what I look like when I wake up in the morning. Anyhow, I wanted to go ahead and finish the intro to kind of get you guys caught up to where I am today. So I stopped off at the hospitalization, the last hospitalization where I had to go be admitted against my will, and that was back in 2012. So from 2012 up until currently, again, I was unmedicated, and I had a diagnosis, but like I mentioned in the last video, we never really gave it a lot of credit. Sorry for like the laundry basket and all this stuff. I just got finished moving back into my house on wheels. We'll talk about that later too. But anyway, I live in a camper full time, and I had gotten out of it for the winter, and I just moved back in the last day or so. So things are a mess. Sorry. But anyway, so I had been living pretty much unmedicated and in a fair amount of denial about it. Like we never gave this diagnosis the credit that it was due. We just never put two and two together. We never took time to learn about it. So therefore we didn't see these things as a bipolar issue. We just saw these things as mom's crazy. And that's pretty much how everybody had to deal with it. The ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. I don't stay very long, I don't think. It doesn't seem so anyway. I'm usually either one way or the other. And that's been very difficult on my family. So, again, I love that fast forward business, but fast forwarding all the way through today, back in, I want to say, I've been fairly depressed as a whole for the last 2 years. Not constant, but the majority of my time has been spent in a depression. We have some family issues, especially things that I have caused with this illness, or this illness has caused me. And it's been difficult. It's been very difficult to deal with. I'm still struggling to deal with it. I struggle with it every day. Actually, I don't think there's a day that goes by that I don't struggle with it, to be perfectly honest. But it is what it is. Life is where it's at. Mistakes have been made. Choices have been made. Bad decisions, good decisions. More bad than good, unfortunately, I have to say, is what led us to where we are today. But towards the end of last year, we had some fairly traumatic events happen, and I was so about September time frame, I went into a depression that was fairly significant. My husband had to be gone for a while, and he came home, and I told him he'd been gone for like 3 or 4 weeks, and he'd come home, and then he was gone again, and then the last time that he came home, I told him, I said, I really think that I might need to see somebody. I might, and it's been years since I've even contemplated the idea of going to see somebody. But the depression had gotten so bad that I was really struggling to keep it together. Well, lo and behold, about the time I, made the decision I probably need to see somebody, I started coming out of it. And so therefore, of course, I'm like, oh, well, I'm fine. I don't need to see anybody. So, and then we had some traumatic things happen, and it sent my moods like spiraling way out of control. So the little bit of high that I had, or the higher mood that I had, was gone pretty much instantly. Things just sent me off the deep end. So ended up that I decided to seek help. because I feel like I was to the point of not being able to manage things on my own. And so far it's been fairly good. My husband had to leave on deployment on December 17th. And right before he left, one of our last two children who lived at home, she moved out of the house like just a few days before he left on deployment. So that was tough, to say goodbye to one of your children, and I only had one left, and one left here at home. Not one left, but one left here at home. And so he went ahead and he left on his deployment, and I began seeing a doctor, and I got on what we were hoping was going to be the proper meds. At this point, I'm not sure. As a matter of fact, I see my psychiatrist this morning to see if we're going to be changing these meds or changing my diagnosis. But anyhow, so he left on deployment, and things were actually going fairly well because I was on the upswing of that depression. So the depression pretty much lifted within the first 2 weeks, I would say, of deployment. I began to transition into a much higher mood, more elevated mood, and I stayed there for quite some time. I feel like I was doing fairly well. Now, my daughter, who lived here at home with me up until she just moved out recently, would say differently. She believes that my depression was going on a little longer, but that's not how I felt it. So that's why it's important to have family and people and friends that can watch you, because what you see and feel versus what they see sometimes is vastly different. But anyway, I had come out of that high and back into this low again, and at first I thought I was managing it okay on my own, but then it just began to spiral, and to the point where I woke up one morning about a week or so ago. Actually, now it's been, I don't remember exactly what day it was, but I know it was a Thursday morning, and I woke up that morning feeling a little bit better, and so I thought today might be a better day. And oh no, as the hours wore on that morning, it just got worse and worse, to the point where sorry, my stomach's growling. It just got worse and worse, to the point of I felt like I needed help, and I needed help like quick. So I started trying to call my doctor, and of course, nobody answers the phone. And I called and I called and I called, and nobody would answer the phone. I called my insurance company to see about changing doctors, and that's fine, but you can't get an appointment right away. So after probably an hour or so past that, I finally decided I had to be seen. So my daughter took me to it's kind of like an urgent care psychiatry type place. It's a psych hospital, but it's really there for just emergencies, to get somebody through the moment, and then give them the resources necessary to help them past that hospitalization. So anyway, I went to the hospital, and I didn't want to be there. I did not want to be there. I did not want to go. I've been in the hospital before. It's not a fun place. For me, I feel very trapped in there. For me, I feel, I don't know, I feel like it's prison, and I feel like and I hate to come off that the hospital is a bad place to be, because I would hate for anybody to not go. It just rubs me the wrong way. And I just don't do so well in those situations. Maybe if I was more open to it, maybe if I didn't get such negative feelings about it, maybe I would get more out of it when I had to go. But anyhow, I went, and the day that I got there, everything was pretty miserable. It took forever to get checked in, and yada, yada, yada. They didn't have a bed where I needed to be, and all these things just began rolling around in my mind, making excuses of why I shouldn't be there. Well, the following morning, an alarm going off. The following morning, they had given me an antidepressant to help me go to sleep the night before. And when I woke up, I only had about 4 hours of sleep on that antidepressant. And when I woke up, I literally woke up completely manic and agitated and angry and ready just to, I don't even know. It was crazy. The difference in the person that came into that hospital the day before and then the person that they were dealing with the following day, I don't even know if they knew what to do with me. It's like two different people. It's truly and honestly like two different people. I came in there as a very sad, I can't manage, I can't handle this. Please help me, to leave me the hell alone, get the F away from me. You know, I don't need you. I don't need this. I don't need to be here. Let me out of here. Whatever, all the things that I said, and I cursed people out. I threw a chair. It's so unbelievable the difference in who you can be from day to day, week to week, moment to moment sometimes. In this instance, my mood shifted from the time that I fell asleep in the 4 hours I slept and woke up, and I was in a whole different headspace. So needless to say, I checked myself out of the hospital against medical advice, and here I am. Now I feel like I'm doing okay. I've come out of the depression and I'm more on an even keel, and hopefully I'll be able to have a good doctor's visit this morning, and we can talk about what happened and see if we need to change these meds. The doctor in the hospital had altered the diagnosis somewhat, but before I go saying what it's been altered to or anything like that, I'd like to double check that with my current psychiatrist and see if we're all on the same page. And then I'll come back in the next video and I'll let you know what happens. But I don't know if you've never had to deal with a person with a mental illness. Namely, I'm just going to speak about bipolar because that's what I know about. That's what I have. And I really, to be honest with you, I don't really know a lot about the other. I'm a little bit familiar with bipolar 2. But I'm not, first of all, I'm still learning about my own illness. So I'm only going to speak about what I know. But I do know that for me, this illness is, sometimes it's all consuming. And now that I've given it the credibility that it deserves, that I've given it the recognition and understanding that I have a mental illness. I have a diseased brain or something that is, they say it's never gonna be okay. They say it gets worse with age, which is terrifying. And that I will probably need to be on medications for the rest of my life, you know. It's scary. It's really scary. It's scary to think that all these years have been like this, and that all the rest of my years may still be like this, you know, even on the medication. So I went on medication back in December, and I was coming out of the depression at the time, I think. So the meds seemed like they were doing a good job, and I was really happy with them. And I was thinking I'm on the uphill swing, and then turn around just not even a month later or a month or so later and go downhill again. So from how I understand things, that, you know, there's many people that it's taken years to get their medications right. So God, I hope I'm not one of those people who has to wait so long. I hope we can get it figured out sooner than later. I understand that I'll always have a problem, but if we can take the edge off my moods, if we can just bring the highs down a little bit and bring the lows up a little bit, so I can be somewhere in this spot and not way up here and not way down there. So I think that it would at least make my life a lot more manageable, and it would make me more pleasant to be around for other people. It wouldn't make it so difficult to deal with me. You know, maybe it would help make my moods more predictable. I don't know, but we'll see. Anyhow, so that's pretty much where I am right now. I'll just tell you what's current. So I live in a fifth wheel full time, and I have for about 4 years now. When my husband left on deployment, two of my kids were still, well, actually, no, one left right before he left, but I rented a beach house because I didn't want to. Well, first of all, I didn't think my campground was going to stay open all winter, and of course they did, but I didn't know that at the time. So I rented a beach house, and 6 bedrooms and 4 baths, that crazy house. And then lo and behold, one of the last child at home moved out, and I never wanted to be in the beach house in the first place. I like my camper. I like my small life. This is home to me, and I love it. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever done, and it makes me happy to be here. But I moved into that beach house kind of unwillingly. I never really wanted to go. So, and then everybody moved out on me. So the last few days I have been packing it up, getting back into my camper. A sweet friend of mine helped me to get my camper moved into a good spot, and I am finally pulling it back together again, I think. Hopefully this will last. It's taken a while to get on more of an even keel. I'm still not 100% around people yet. I'm getting a little bit better. I tried to go out with a friend the other night and just couldn't do it, and I had to leave. And it takes me a while to come out of this sometimes to be able to socialize and to have phone time. When I'm really, really depressed, I have a hard time talking to people. I can't really formulate my thoughts very well, and I'm very slow and sluggish. And just talking to people sometimes is hard. So I kind of avoid them. And you don't want people to see you like that. Like, it's just, or me personally, when I'm really bad like that, I'm very grouchy. I don't want to talk to anybody, and I don't feel like doing anything with myself. I don't feel like I'm not, and I'm in no way sociable. So coming out of it and coming back into more of an even headspace, I don't really know that's how to describe it, but that's how I feel what it is. I just feel more balanced. Even though I feel better, it takes me a little bit to take on people again. I did go out last night and had food and sat with friends and talked, and it wasn't as bad. I didn't stay very long. I didn't want to overdo it. So I only stayed for my food and a drink, and I left, and that was it. And I came home, but I was out, and I was out with people, and that's what matters. And I'm getting there slowly but surely. But anyway, so this is basically, this video was kind of all over the place, but it does bring you up to date as to where I am currently. And hopefully the next video I bring to you, I'll still be smiling. Hopefully I will do something with myself, and you won't have to see me like this. But I will tell you that, I don't know, the older I get, sometimes I just don't care as much. And there's been so many videos that I've made for my husband where I have the full-on bedhead. I mean, straight out. Only once I videoed in the dark intentionally because I knew I looked so bad. But I make the videos for him, and I just make them however I look. And I just figure, you know what? Y'all are gonna love me or not. I don't know. But this is how I look. This is what I look like in the morning. And there'll be plenty of videos like this, because morning time is one of my favorite times to video. I get kind of busy during the day, running around acting like a crazy person trying to get things done, and I'll forget, But anyhow, so this brings you pretty much current to where I am right now, sitting here in my little house on wheels, and trying to get back into the swing of things in life. I'm going to see my doctor today. Hopefully that appointment goes well, and we'll see where I'm at. But I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope it kind of helps you to at least catch up, and then we can move on from here to where things are. I don't know how often these videos will be. It just depends on what my mood is, and depends on, well, I'm just not going to box myself in. I've decided I'm not going to box myself in. I'm not going to say I'm going to do it once a week. I'm not going to say I'll do it every couple days. I'm just going to do it when I do it. I'm going to do it when I feel like doing it. And I think that that's the best way to go. Then I haven't put any undue pressure on myself or unnecessary pressure on myself. I already have a video for my husband that I make every single day. So that's enough pressure, believe me, when I'm not feeling well. And if you ever go to watch those videos or take a look at those videos, I believe it's day 70 that it's the day after the hospital. And that is a very good look at how I was doing at the time, and that was only a week or so ago. So I've come a long way since, I don't know, I don't know, maybe it wasn't day 70, maybe it was like because I know day 74 is missing because I accidentally deleted it. And day 75, I was in the hospital, so I didn't video that day. So it must be day 76. I'm pretty sure it's day 76. But anyhow, it's a very good picture of what things are like for me when I'm not okay. And yeah. So anyhow, that's it. That's it for this one. And I don't know, I hope you found it helpful somehow. I don't know, I feel like I kind of rambled, but you know, it is what it is. There's not going to be any real rhyme or reason, I guess, to these videos, just to give you a glimpse into what it's like. And we'll talk about some topics. I'll think of some things that, you know, I did want to talk about, like coping skills that I've learned, ways that I'm learning to look for my triggers and try to recognize things before they get out of hand. I think that's the biggest key to living this life successfully, is to be able to see things before they happen. And I know that for me, this is one thing I know for sure. When I start to avoid people, when I start to get that angst about dealing with people, and even people that I like, people that I normally would get along with, but I just can't. You know, I can't socialize. I just don't have what it takes. When I start to feel like that, that's a pretty good indication that I am going downhill. So catching things like that and learning about this illness and being able to catch things in advance is going to be key for me. And we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about, you know, coping skills, things that we can do, or things that I, you know, I'm learning to do in order to get through these moments so that they're not quite so bad. Because even family members will tell me, Dana, just get over it. Just don't think like that. You'll be fine. You know, why do you let yourself get so down? And God love them. I mean, they really are trying to be encouraging. They really are. And they do love me and they care about me. What they don't understand is I can't help how I feel. If I could turn it off like the rest of people seem to be able to do, that would be amazing. But what I hear in my head and the thoughts that won't stop in my head are very different, I'm assuming, than what they think and how they experience life. So when they speak to me that way, they're speaking to me from their experience, their expectations of themselves, and therefore their expectations then of me. And I guess same the vice versa, you know, it's hard because I try to talk to them with my experiences and my expectations, and it's they just can't relate. They can't relate to how I function and how my head works, how my brain works, any more than I can understand what it's like to be normal. Because in all honesty, I've been this way my whole entire life. As long as I can remember, I have been this way. I mean, all the way back into my younger years. So I don't know when this set off for me or when it became full-fledged bipolar, but I do know that I have pretty much been this high-strung, constant ball of chaos my whole life. So, you know, I don't know anything any different, and they don't know anything any different. And it's trying to find that happy medium where they can maybe understand or learn about the illness so that they understand that I can't help it. It's not something that I choose. It's not something that I want. I mean, who would choose this? I mean, who would choose to be so depressed that you know, the thoughts are constantly in your head of you're not worthy, you know, and you shouldn't be here and you should just kill yourself because life would be better without you. Your family would be better without you. You know, there wouldn't be so much chaos in other people's lives. You wouldn't be upsetting everyone or destroying things, you know. Or as in the words to a person who's very near and dear to me, had written that her life is just easier and less stressful without me in it. So to those who think that you can just turn it off or change it or make it different, I've lost a lot because I can't. And I've lost things that are so near and dear, and people who are so near and dear and precious to me, that, especially the people, no one in their right mind would continue to live this way if they didn't have to, and lose the things that are most important, most valuable, most priceless and treasured. You wouldn't do it. So maybe as a side note, maybe I could just say, you know, if you're dealing with someone with mental health issues, please don't just tell them to get over it. It's really hard. You know, it's really hard to hear that. And you just sit there and you just, every time I hear it, and I hear it quite often, every time I hear it, it's just like a punch in the gut, and you just sit there and you feel like they'll never understand. They'll never understand. But don't give up, because somebody will. And you know, I tell you what, I've got some pretty amazing friends, people who have reached out to me and who have called and checked on me. And it's funny because most of them never knew I even had this problem, because it's something that was hidden for a lot of years. So being open and being honest allows me the freedom to at least be a little bit more of who I am. And it allows me to reach out to others, and it allows others to, it gives them, oh, how do you say it? Like, if they don't know what's going on because you hide it away, then they can't help you. So I guess what I'm saying is, it gives them an opportunity to be the friend that they want to be anyway. And the same friend that I would be. You know, so anyhow, I really don't even know where I was going with that. But just be kind when you talk to people, because you just really don't know what they're going through. And just telling somebody to get over it or to not think that way is not necessarily the answer. Anyhow, before I start rambling any further, be kind to yourselves, be kind to other people, and I hope that everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day full of love and light and all things wonderful. All right, until next time, this is my early morning bedhead face and hair, and yep, that's what y'all get. So maybe the next one will be better. Maybe I'll put myself together. And maybe I'll actually have a topic. But this really was the second part of the intro anyway, so I'm not real worried about it. All right. Love everybody.